A summer in motion. The crack of a wood bat under the Friday night lights. The silent, glass-like ripple on a lake at 7 a.m. and the high-pitched whack of a golf ball, finally blessedly finding the center of the fairway. To most people, these are just sounds, but to me, they are the three pillars of my identity from May to August. They represent the different gears that I have to shift through to feel like myself. Today, I want to take you through my summer journey. It's a story of two very different worlds, the high-intensity, high-stakes environment of Northwest baseball, and the quiet, soul-recharging peace I find while fishing and golfing. As a student athlete, I've learned that the best way to spend a summer isn't just about working hard. It's about finding a perfect balance between the grind and the getaway. We're going to start on the dirt of the diamond, move to the serenity of the water, and finish up on the green grass of the golf course and the open road. My summer officially begins the moment the school bell rings in May. But for a motorized ball player, vacation is a bit of a relative term. While most people are sleeping in or heading to the pool, my alarm is going off for morning weights or early practices. Playing for a program like ours comes with a certain level of expectation. You aren't just playing for yourself, you're playing for a legacy. Most of my June and July consisted of 90-degree practices where the infield dirt felt like it was baking under your cleats. We spent hours perfecting the small ball, double plays, the cutoffs, the Monday repetitions, and that make a team great. Then come the weekend doubleheaders. If you've ever sat in a dugout when it's 95 degrees with 80% humidity, let me tell you, it's a test of character. I remember one specific tournament in the heart of July. We were on our fourth game in 3 days, the mental fatigue was setting in, and every muscle ached. We were down by 2 in the final inning. The crowd was loud, and the pressure was sitting right on our shoulders. In those moments, you don't just learn how to throw a slider or hit a gap. You learn how to breathe. You learn how to drown out the noise and trust the guy standing next to you. The competitive heat is addictive. It pushes you to be better than you were yesterday. But as any athlete knows, you can't redline your engine forever. Eventually, you need to pull over, find some shade, and leave the scoreboard behind. That shade for me is usually on the edge of a boat or a muddy bank at daybreak. If baseball is where I go to be loud and aggressive and intense, fishing is where I go to find myself. I go fishing every single chance I get. It's not just a hobby, it's a necessity. This is a specific ritual to a summer fishing morning. It starts with an alarm clock going off at 4:30 a.m., a time most of my friends consider late at night, but I consider the prime of the day. There's a certain magic in being the only person awake, watching the mist rise off the water while the rest of the world is still dreaming. There's also a science to that people don't often realize. It's not just sitting there. You're analyzing the water temperature, checking the wind direction to see which bank the bait fish are being pushed toward, and cycling through lures to see what the fish are actually looking for. I remember a morning this July when the water was like a mirror. I was using a top water frog, casting it right into the thickest lily pads I could find. For 20 minutes, nothing. Then, on one slow retrieve, the water didn't just ripple, it literally exploded. That heart-stopping thud when a bass hits your line is the only thing that rivals a walk-off hit in baseball. Even on the days when the fish aren't biting, the silence of the lake acts as a reset button for my brain. It's the one place where no one is checking my stats or asking about my batting average. It's just me, the water, and the challenge of the catch. And my aid that I brought for fishing was a fishing lure, which represents that. Of course, you can't spend the entire summer being a hermit on a lake. Eventually, you need to get back out there with your crew. That's where the golf comes in. Now, I'll be the first to admit I'm not a pro. I play for fun, but I try to get out as much as humanly possible. Golf is the perfect middle ground for me. It's competitive enough to keep me interested, but social enough that I can spend 4 hours joking around with my friends. There is something uniquely humbling about golf. One minute you think you've mastered the game because you hit a perfect drive, and the next minute you're hitting a ball into a pond that wasn't even in your line of sight. It's frustrating, and you have to battle triumph. There is nothing quite like the collective groan from the group when one of us slices a ball into the deep woods, or the absolute shock when someone actually sinks a 30-foot putt they had no business making. Beyond the course, the summer was filled with smaller, unscripted moments, hanging with friends, traveling to different towns for tournaments, and those long car rides where the music is loud and the windows are down. We traveled to places I might not have gone otherwise, discovering small towns and local spots that became part of our summer tradition. These moments were the glue of my season. They weren't scheduled by a coach or dictated by a tournament bracket. They were just the spontaneous result of having nowhere to be and all day to get there. They reminded me that while sports are important, the people you play them with are what you'll actually remember 10 years from now. And my other aid is a golf ball, because that represents golf. From the dirt of the Northwest infield to the calm of the Nebraska lakes and the rolling hills of the golf course, my summer was a cycle of action and reflection. Looking back on it now, I realize that I needed every single one of those moments. I needed the pressure of the 3-2 count in the bottom of the seventh to keep me sharp. I needed the early morning solitude on the lake to keep me grounded, and I needed the laughter on the 18th green to keep me happy. As the air turns crisp and the school schedule starts to fill up our calendars again, I find myself looking back at these months with a lot of gratitude. This summer taught me that life isn't about choosing between being an athlete or an outdoorsman. It's about being both and compromising. It's about the freedom to chase what you love, whether that's a championship, a trophy, a 10-pound bass, or just a perfect afternoon with your best friends. As I trade my fishing rod for textbooks and my baseball cleats for school shoes, I'll be holding on to those memories, at least until the first pitch of next spring. And trust me, I'll probably be checking the weather for the lake during my lunch break. Thank you.